the one who is many. Godzilla fans have had a long history with the arch-rival to the king of the monsters, Ghidorah. And with the Monsterverse, those fans, along with new ones around the world, got to see the largest live-action incarnation of the devil with three heads. To bring Ghidorah into the modern world of film, the creators behind Godzilla King of the Monsters, like director Michael Dougherty, spoke closely with Toho, the Japanese studio who created Godzilla and Ghidorah, to make sure their take on the monster stayed true to the classics. But they also wanted to bring new elements to Ghidorah, like traits found on real-life animals, in hopes to make this the most believable rendition of the monster yet, specifically a King Cobra. King Ghidorah is known for many things, but the most notable of these attributes has got to be the monster's three heads, and the Monsterverse version took these heads to a whole nother level, each capable of independent thought. Ichi, Ni, and San.
Kevin. His name is Kevin.
Alright then, Ichi, Ni, and Kevin are three different characters all on the same body. Ichi is the middle head and the most dominant. He's the leader of the three, and his intelligence is what pushes the monster. Ni is a hothead, always looking for a fight with little fear of anything. And then San, or Kevin, is, well, he's just meme material. Michael Dougherty actually claimed that Kevin would likely be a neutral or good guy monster if he had his own body. This take on Ghidorah is from extraterrestrial origins and is rumored to come from a planet where he was the younger sibling to a much more powerful being, and therefore would never become the alpha. This is why Ghidorah left his planet to seek a new place to shape in his own image. Learn this and more in this episode of Monster Breakdowns. Let's get to it. This truly is the largest non-anime take on Ghidorah, and maybe the largest mobile monster Godzilla has ever faced. Coming in at 521 feet tall, an estimated length to be well over 700 feet, a wingspan of over 1,000 feet, and weighing in at a whopping 140,000 tons, considerably more than Godzilla, who is around 100,000 tons. This monster is massive beyond comprehension. Ghidorah takes influence from Eastern dragons, as the design team wanted to make sure the monster didn't look like the dragons from Game of Thrones and other middle-aged stories. The serpentine-like movement of Ghidorah is a prime example of this. Each of its three heads has long, slender necks capable of a wide range of motion. This helps Ghidorah become a much more hard target to hit, as its three moving heads is quite the distraction. There are horns that go up the backside of these necks and then meet at the top of the head to form a crown fit for a true king. The faces of the three heads are mostly identical, like the mammal-like snouts, devilish red eyes, and the constant resting bitch face, but each has slight differences that add to their unique individuality. In combat, the middle head is the aggressor, the right head can be seen keeping spatial awareness, and Kevin tends to keep an eye out on everything else going on in a sort of sentry mentality. While the three heads are badass and a fascinating side of Ghidorah's design, his body is a bit more simple but still holds up in terms of its quality. Each of its legs has feet that has evolved to work like a bird's talons, helping the massive beast grip to rock sides and other perches. The legs themselves of Ghidorah are less developed than other parts of its body, likely due to the monster's ability to fly as its primary source of getting around. A trait that is fairly unique to Ghidorah are its multiple tails. In this case, Monsterverse Ghidorah has two tails that both end with this monstrous-looking biological club. And then we have the monster's glorious wings. These allow Ghidorah to travel massive distances, possibly even through space, as there is still no other evidence to suggest how the monster got to Earth in the first place. Each flap of these wings rips the atmosphere and creates the powerful otherworldly storms that surround Ghidorah at all times. Even with the uber weight of the monster, all it takes is just one flap of these wings to lift Ghidorah off the ground, and then again when lifting not only its own weight but also Godzilla's all the way above the clouds. The sheer power these wings can generate is beyond anything known to Earth's physics as we know it. Lastly, covering all of Ghidorah's body are large golden scales that showcase the majesty of Ghidorah, but also act as a conductor that enables the monster to be able to create bioelectrical currents of energy that can be channeled into his gravity beam attack. When it comes to kaiju, it's difficult to describe them as good or evil. Sure, some tend to lean towards one or the other, but it's usually a strange gray area on the matter. If a monster was to be considered evil though, Ghidorah would be the one to hold that title. What makes Ghidorah more than a destructive monster are his high levels of intelligence and social displays that really shows off his intentions and goals. He wants to kill, destroy, hunt, and even mock his enemies, specifically how he targets humans. Not many of the other titans have given much attention to us ant-sized humans, but Ghidorah seemed to enjoy bullying and killing us. He went after Emma Russell when she posed no threat to him, and used his gravity beam to fry these unfortunate people here when there was no harm they could cause him. Ghidorah likes a little cat and mouse, having a bit of fun with his endless slaughter. Monster Zero has the ability to transform an entire planet to his liking, but there's much more to this monster than global catastrophe. Each of its 3 heads can lash out in an instant and deliver a deadly bite, while also having the ability to wrap the necks around its target to secure it, much like the King Cobra that inspired Ghidorah's design. Once latched on, Ghidorah could suck the energy out of its targets, both living when the monster begins to use Godzilla's energy against him, and inanimate when he sucks the electricity out of a major power source in the city of Boston. This energy could then be turned into his primary weapon, the gravity beam. A deadly blast that when it's combined from all 3 heads, firing is even more powerful than Godzilla's atomic blast. The beam could be fired in all directions, and with the necks of Ghidorah being insanely flexible, it was like the monster was a walking turret. When his beam wasn't available, Ghidorah could use his wings, legs, and tails in a flurry of powerful melee attacks. The club-like tails could even rattle much like a rattlesnake, which could be used for intimidation displays. In the air, Ghidorah could reach speeds up to 650 miles per hour. That's a good bit faster than your typical commercial airplane. In short, if you were in a plane, Ghidorah would make quick work in passing, better yet destroying your entire plane. While this was impressive, Ghidorah was a heavy flyer and didn't have the agility that we see with Rodan, Mothra, and the male Muto. The devil with 3 heads does not need oxygen to survive. This is why when humanity used the oxygen destroyer on he and Godzilla, that Ghidorah was not affected at all. And lastly, with what is likely the most interesting and useful of Ghidorah's powers, his regenerative capabilities. The extent of this ability to heal and even regrow entire body parts is unknown. However, with Ghidorah's head regenerating in just a few seconds, it may be safe to say that as long as one head survived and was attached to his body in some way, the rest of Ghidorah would eventually regenerate fully. For all intents and purposes, Ghidorah is more powerful than Godzilla when looking purely on the surface, but that doesn't mean the monster doesn't have a few major flaws. First off, we know that if Ghidorah is frozen, that he will not be able to escape unless someone or something else intervened. And in the water, Ghidorah is one of the weakest titans. Godzilla was able to make quick work of Ghidorah when they were in the G-Man's home field, and would have ended right there if humans didn't fire the oxygen destroyer at them both. Plus, Ghidorah could not even handle Godzilla's thermonuclear pulse and was killed in a matter of seconds, but I don't think there's much that could have survived that special one-time attack of Godzilla. And now for the Monster Report. Monsterverse Ghidorah is vastly more powerful than Godzilla when outside of the water, quickly defeating Godzilla multiple times. But the monster seemed to struggle when sealing the deal and killing the G-Man off for good. Plot armor, I know, but let's have some fun here. In terms of where Ghidorah stands on the ranking report, he gets 95 Kevin heads out of 100. But let me know what you think. Thank you all for watching the video, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you haven't checked out our merch, head on over now to see what we have to offer. Real quick, residents, I want to give a massive shout out to the mighty Zool. He's done a lot of badass work on the channel over the last few months, and I really can't thank him enough for his awesome effort in all this. He also does things over on Clayton Fioriti's channel, so feel free to go check that out later on. Ghidorah is a true badass, and there are rumors that he may still have some part left to play in Godzilla vs. Kong, so make sure and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already to be kept up to date on everything Godzilla vs. Kong. As always, residents, this has been Jacob, and peace out.